Montgomery County chapter, and the topic of my speech is critical race theory. What's your favorite color? American history. And it said white. Skin color is the basis for millions of individuals being disenfranchised in a system that seemingly promotes rectitude but cultivates injustices. Critical race theory, also known as CRT, is an academic and legal framework highlighting how systemic racism is intertwined in American society. Critical race theory is a thesis formulated by Derek Bell during the Civil Rights Movement as the advancements that individuals tirelessly worked for was stopped and reversed. It is utilized to prove how societal inequities are upheld and promoted in all sectors of our world. One example can be seen in the criminal justice system. I am fascinated with criminal law, and I had the opportunity to watch the documentary and case of Demetrius Flannery, aka Big Meech. He was a notorious drug dealer and businessman from Cleveland, Ohio, well loved in the community, eventually brought to justice and received 30 years in prison. White-collar crimes of the same magnitude received 20 years, but because of his race and racism, he was not so lucky. Documentaries like these prove the significance of how critical race theory's basis is in educating the uneducated. That's right. As a sophomore, African American history was plastered in bold in my first semester schedule. Even though it wasn't elective and I still needed essential credits, it was a multi-dimensional class I desperately needed to take, especially after the racial turmoil of 2020. Topics were taught from the perspective that highlights society's beauty and flaws. Once the class concluded, it left a lasting impact as it encouraged me to read books such as Color Me Dark, The Diary of Nellie Love by Patricia McKissack, The Great Migration, Journey to the North by Eloise Greenfield, and The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. Learning about my history through a new lens permitted me to decipher existing injustices and not turn a blind eye to them. As a Black female, learning a whitewashed version of history, it made me feel anger, unheard, and overlooked, a feeling that students of color commonly experience. However, these experiences are a hidden blessing as it prompts us to resist injustice and fight by being well educated. I remember reading And Still I Rise by Maya Angelou for the first time. A tear dropped as I read the opening line. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies, but still like dust I rise, I felt seen. Despite my resonance with obtaining an unedited version of learning, it specifically had a resounding impact on my peers. These experiences produce fruitful conversations that allow individuals to become aware and address their own biases to rid the system of its ills. However, others claim that critical race theory is polarizing our country as it is pitting people of color against white people. For the last 3 years, the education of millions of students have been penalized for the fallacy of one acronym. Currently, 44 states have introduced legislation that bans critical race theory, 16 states having successfully passed legislation that prohibits race to be taught, even gender, according to the Brookings Institute. More recently, AP African American history has been banned in Florida. These legislators are trying to erase Black history, and when that happens, it erases us. It erases the teaching of the kingdom of Mali and Mansa Musa. It erases the 1.8 million deaths during the Middle Passage voyage. It erases my great-grandparents who were sharecroppers and others maltreated by this very system. But that won't happen. We learn from the generation of good trouble. We are the generation of resistance. So I urge each and every one of you to rise up. I encourage